The LG G3 is one of the most anticipated devices of the summer. It's going to be released on August 1st for a number of carriers in Canada, including Rogers, Bell, MTS, SaskTel, and Videotron. And while it's the first device to sport a QHD display in the country, which uh, works out to be 2560 by 1440 pixels, there's a few more things here that make it stick out. First of all, it has this very unique design. It's got a brushed plastic backing that looks metallic, and you can see there it shimmers in the sunlight. It has a rear volume and power combo like its predecessor, the G2, and although it takes a little bit of getting used to, it is quite intuitive, except for when you need to adjust the volume while it is sitting flat on a table. This device has a 5.5-inch display. It's very sharp, but there are some issues with the display that I noted in the written review. First of all, there is an issue displaying text, and that's something that you can't really tell on camera, but there's some aliasing, some haloing around certain text, certain fonts, because they haven't been optimized for this resolution. Some apps also don't run very well using on this resolution. They haven't been updated yet. Apps such as BBM can't even be found in the store unless you sideload it, because they aren't optimized for anything above 1080p. So that is something to keep in mind. Also, viewing angles not quite as good as that of the G2. This is a first generation QHD display. LG will certainly improve it, but there are some things that you will need to keep in mind. First of all, because there are more pixels, the backlight has to work harder to power all of those pixels, and as a result, battery life is negatively affected. All of these things add up to one word: compromise. You get one of the sharpest, most vivid displays on the market, but there are some things that you have to keep in mind. So that's just an introduction. You can see here there is a very little around the screen that could be called bezel. Obviously, when you compare it to something like the OnePlus One, which has a similar screen size at 5.5 inches, you can see that the LG G3 is much smaller, and we'll get to the OnePlus One in a future review. So, what to say about the G3 software? Well, it's a huge improvement over the G2, but there are still some serious issues with lag. LG really does not know how to optimize its Android skins just yet, and it just doesn't run as smoothly as, say, the Galaxy S5 or the HTC One M8. There are some nice touches here. For example, LG has included a pretty good set of first-party apps. And you can see here they all take advantage of KitKat's ability to change the color of the notification shade to match the app itself. So you get some nice variations here with its first-party apps as well. They're pretty simple. Also, we have what we call Q-Slide apps, and those are apps that kind of sit above the main screen. So you can see here, if I want to make a phone call, it will just sit right above here, and then I can open another one, and I can open up a small browser from the screen itself. So I can go to Mobile Syrup, and I can browse. I can change the transparency, make it opaque, make it translucent, and then fully transparent. So it's pretty nice to be able to do that. But it's still quite gimmicky. The screen's not really big enough for anything to really take advantage of those smaller apps. You can see here the multitasking manager also looks a bit new. The latest app stands at the top left instead of the bottom right, like on traditional Android versions, and you actually swipe away horizontally, so that's new. Also, dual window is meant to take advantage of the fact that the screen is quite big, and you can actually get two apps going at the same time, and you can adjust the sizes accordingly. So this is similar to multi-window from Samsung. You can see here I can adjust the size of the screen, I can make the browser bigger, I can scroll, I can scroll. So these are all nice features. The hardware is now powerful enough to take advantage of them pretty nicely, and you can easily get rid of them if you don't want them anymore. So that's something nice. There's also something called Smart Notice, which will give you an instant notification when you're running low on battery, or you're running low on storage, or you receive a phone call and you missed it and you want to know who it was. So these things, they work in conjunction with Google services, but there's nothing really that good, that revolutionary about it. They're just value adds, and they make the experience just a little bit better. What I can say about the software, though, is that it's a huge improvement over the G2. There is a flatness to it that, of course, most OEMs are going with these days, but everything just does feel a little bit better, less skeuomorphic, certainly more modern, but the performance as well has been drastically improved, although, as I said, LG could stand to slim down on some of those extras. The other issue that I have with the software is that it doesn't run Roboto. It runs a font called New Smart Gothic, and you can change the font, but most of the other ones are pretty terrible. Even the serif font is pretty bad. So I'm not sure why they chose to use their own font, but I don't like it very much. Maximum brightness is not nearly as good as the G2. That's due to the high resolution screen. But everything else is a lot better than the G2. We have 32 gigs of storage. We have something called Quick Circle case, which we showed you on the website a few days ago. We don't have one here, but it allows you to kind of interact with the device even with the case on. There's 32 gigs of storage, and that's going to come in handy when you store media on here and you like to watch it on the big screen. So those are all big improvements. And finally, we have a removable back, and this is also one of the biggest changes from the G2. We finally have a removable battery as well, so you have the ability to change cells, and you have a micro SD slot. And LG told us that that was due to customer demand. Now, obviously, in times of past, adding a removable battery and a removable back cover would probably mean that the device would be a bit thicker, but this is only about 8.8 millimeters, 8.9 millimeters, and it's actually thinner than the G2. So LG didn't really sacrifice any space because the device is longer and a little bit wider than the G2. So the battery size is the same, but you actually have a removable cell this time and some storage. Overall, I'm not super impressed with every aspect of the device. The camera is probably my favorite part of the G2, or the G3 rather, and the G2. This uses the same optics. It's a 13 megapixel sensor with an f2.4 lens, and the biggest draw here over the G2 is that it has a infrared laser, a laser that makes autofocus much faster. It claims to be about 25 milliseconds faster than the equivalent HTC One M8 or Galaxy S5. And while I didn't notice a huge difference, I have been very happy with the camera so far. You can see here, if I take the interface away, it becomes very easy to take a photo with one tap. That's how you see it by default, and then you can open up your settings here. You can change your screen resolution. You can change your resolution. You can change the video capture resolution. You can change the mode. So you have something called Magic Focus, which is similar to something like the dual camera on the HTC One M8. You have panorama mode and dual, which is gives you the ability to take a photo using the front and rear cameras at the same time. Hello. So these are all kind of par for the course these days, and won't change anybody's mind, but will certainly add to the experience. One of the features that we liked on the front-facing camera, though, and I don't know if we can. There we go. So you can hold your fist out, and then you can hold your hand out and then make a fist, and it'll start a timer. So it actually detects your hand and takes a selfie just like that. So this also has optical image stabilization in the camera, so the quality of photos even in low light is actually better, I found, for the most part, than the Galaxy S5, making this probably the most consistently good Android camera on the market today. Even the Sony Xperia Z2, which has a larger sensor and better optics, doesn't have the optical image stabilization, so I found this to be more consistent when taking shots in low light as a result. So overall, this has the potential to disrupt somewhat the high-end smartphone market in Canada. It certainly grabs you in a way that the Galaxy S5 doesn't, but the screen, the battery life, and some of the software features are quite frustrating because they're not improvements over the G2. They're more sidesteps. I found that the 1080p screen on the G2 was more than sharp enough, beautiful, great color saturation, excellent viewing angles, and did not negatively affect the battery life like that of the G3. So I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the QHD revolution, if it will come. And if it does, I hope that the second generation screens, coupled with more powerful processors, don't negatively affect battery life in the same way. So this is a great product. It's got a great rear speaker. It has some great optics. It's got a nicer design than the G2. It has a removable battery. It's got a nice, vivid, sharp screen, and very little in terms of bezels. It's also got quite a nice front footprint here. So the company has a lot of things going for it with the G3, but overall I don't know that I can recommend it over the Galaxy S5 because of the software experience and the issues with the screen. So this has been Daniel with Mobile Syrup. Thank you so much for watching.